هذا القرآن يوحدنا لطريق الخير يوجهنا الله تعالى أنزله ورسول الله معلمنا.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, so welcome to the fifth session of the second annual Islamic Perspectives Conference. The topic for discussion today is Are Technology and Progress Synonymous? For this session, we are fortunate to have Dr. Waqas Ahmed as our speaker, accompanied by Chairman Dr. Afridi, a consultant oncologist at Shifa International Hospital. Our speaker is a graduate of Rawalpindi Medical College and has completed his residency in internal medicine from the University of South Alabama. He is board certified in internal medicine and cardiovascular diseases. Currently, Dr. Waqas is a consultant interventional cardiologist at Shifa International Hospital, as well as associate professor of cardiology at Shifa College of Medicine. The topic selected for our session today is a much debated and often controversial question. Considering the technology-dependent world we reside in today, it is an issue that is highly relevant to us all. Dr. Waqas's experiences and accomplishments make him more than qualified as we attempt to shed light on this topic. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Waqas Ahmed as he will explore the answers to the query, Are Technology and Progress Synonymous?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wa salamu ala khatim al-nabiyyin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The glucose stores in the brains are already going down, and so I have to keep it short so we don't turn people off from this. What I'm going to talk about has already been referred to by most of the speakers today. Is there any way the lights can be dimmed and this can be seen better, or are we stuck with technology? Yeah, I don't know. I have to use a lot of technology to talk about technology today, but if it can be dimmed, I think it would be good for people in the background. Yes, please, if you can do that to the other one as well. There are some text which I want people to see. So the topic we want to explore today is technology and progress, and what should be a Muslim's response to the current version of technology and progress that we see around in the Muslim world. How do we go to the next? Do I have to do every time this, or? That's fine, I'll do that. So, before we go and talk about technology, I will say this: 5 years ago, I would not have imagined myself standing here talking about this topic. But I think this is a mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when He shows you the reality of things with an often used prayer of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He would say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, show me things as they are. Show me the reality of things. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows you the reality of things, then perceptions will change dramatically. And so I am here now talking about technology and progress. Before we do that, I think we need to ask ourselves a question. What is our purpose in this world? Why are we all here? Why are we all here today? Not only in this world. How do we define success? How do we define failure? These are definitions which are present in different dimensions in different places. I'm sure people like George W. Bush and Dick Cheney have a definition of success, and have a definition of failure, and have a definition of what is right and what is wrong. And so we have to decide what our definitions ought to be. What is our purpose in this world? We do have a purpose in this world. It's called وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I have not created mankind and jinn except so that they would worship me. So that is our purpose here, to become slaves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what is the definition of success? Yes, we do have a definition of success. The Quran says, وَمَنْ يُطْعِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَقَدْ فَازَ فَوْزًا عَظِيمًا. those who obey Allah and His Messenger, indeed they have achieved the greatest victory. It has nothing to do with degrees and diplomas. And yes, we do have a definition of failure. The Quran says, إِنَّ الْخَاسِرِينَ الَّذِينَ خَسِرُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ وَأَهْلِهِمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَلَا ذَلِكَ هُوَ الْخُسْرَانُ الْمُبِينُ. Tell them, O Prophet, the real losers are the ones who will lose themselves and their families on Yawm al-Qiyamah, on the day of judgment when it will matter the most. And what a manifest loss this will be. You can gain all you want in this world, but if you lose on Yawm al-Qiyamah, that is a manifest loss. Nothing will matter then. What do we equate technology and progress with? In general terms, people like us, when we talk about technology and progress, what do you think of? What comes into your mind? What's the first image that comes into your mind when we talk about technology and progress? This is what comes to mind. 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 Dubai, Kuala Lumpur, New York City, across from the river. If you're in Hoboken, New Jersey, this is the view you get across. So this is technology. If you have this, if you have these pictures in your cities, you're successful. You have progressed. You've achieved your purpose in life. As opposed to this. As opposed to this. These are pictures from our village up in the mountains of Murray. You wake up in the morning, this is what you see. And so, perceptions are very different about what success and what technology and what progress is. When we talk about what these images bring you versus what those images bring you. This is Las Vegas. This is technology. This is progress. They have transformed the desert into this. And so this is a measure of their progress and what technology brings them. Notice that despite all the colors that they are here, I don't know how good you can see these colors, but notice the coldness in the structure, the lack of spirit in the structure. It's an animated concrete and metal form, as compared to this and this, which is Sana'a, Yemen. The old traditional quarters of Sana'a in Yemen. There is a kind of warmth and life in these structures, which were based on the Muslim contribution to technology and art. This is technology and progress, as opposed to this. This is an astrolabe, one of the earliest instruments used to find directions by the Muslims. This is technology. This is a cardiac catheterization laboratory. I don't know how many of you can see this. This is where we do angiograms and angioplasties and all sorts of things. And this technology, we equate it with improving the quality of life of people. We do believe we're doing great work for humanity, but that remains uncertain. This is technology. These are the pictures from the roof of Masjid al-Haram. This is the new hotel. It's already finished now. By the time I was there, it was not finished. As opposed to this, which is a picture of Madinah al-Munawwara, 1905. You can see that the actual boundary of Madinah al-Munawwara is where the Masjid al-Nabawi is actually, the real city. The rest of the city has all sprung up later on. All the five-star hotels and the high-rise plazas that you see around it have happened later on. This is actually a real picture which I took from one of the hospitals that I worked at for a while. I've never seen this picture before. Why do nations and countries go after technology and progress? They go after it for four reasons, predominantly. They want power. They think technology brings you power. And that is what has happened to the Muslims. They think power is tied with technology. Wealth, technology brings you wealth. Convenience is a very important part of this technological equation. We want life to be comfortable. There's a sharp difference between how we perceive life and how the Sahaba and those after them perceived life. If you notice, there's a stark difference. Our lives are focused on somehow making it more comfortable, convenience. Their lives are totally in a different direction. Convenience has nothing to do with it. And health. Health is very important. We go after technology because we want to make people healthy. That's what we like to think. Like one of the famous scientists recently said, "Oh, if we use this and this technology, we can avoid this many 100,000 deaths a year." I'm surprised at that equation. Nobody avoids death. Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut. Everybody's got to taste death. And so even the statement is wrong. The question that everybody must ask is technology neutral? Can technology in the hands of the right people be a good thing? That's a very legitimate question. A gun in the hands of a police officer can save lives, and in the hands of a robber, commit a crime. So the blame is not to the gun, but the one who holds the gun. But unfortunately, that does not hold true to technology. I'll tell you why. The reason is because the mindset behind modern technology comes from a very specific, peculiar, secular, godless framework. That is the key to this question. Is technology neutral? No, it's not neutral. Technology takes on the ideology of those who put it forward. If they are God-fearing people, then that would be a different thing. But if there are godless people coming from godless societies who are only here to get wealth and power, money and convenience, then the technology is not a standalone enterprise. It cannot be disconnected from those who have developed it. And the mind framework of those people who develop the technology. And that is why it is not neutral. Yes, there are benefits of society, but that does not mean we do not take a critical look at technology, that we do not dissect it out and see all this technology that is coming from the West in our direction. Is it in line with our belief system, with our real purpose? I want all of you to keep on going back to the first slide. Do not forget what our real purpose is. Do not forget what success and failure is. And then we will judge the technology and see if it gets us closer to our target or not. There is something called the sanctity of human life and nature. This modern technology takes that away. Sanctity is not just in ibadat, in worship. Human life from waking up to sleeping has to be sanctified, has to be in connect with the sanctified, has to be in constant touch with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because we all have this ruh. وَإِذَا نَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي. There's this element in us which longs to be connected back to its creator. And what technology does, it purposefully cuts that bond between God and the creation. If you look at the structure of Muslim cities, this is not how it used to be. This is not how it used to be. There are still cities in the Muslim world like Fez in Morocco and Yazd in Iran and Damascus where technology, and for that matter, technology was never a terminology that was used in Muslim sciences. It was art. For Muslims, art was a connection, connected to the hand, connected to the knowledge, connected to the spirit, which in turn was connected to God. So when Muslims developed sciences, their sciences were holistic. Their sciences were connected to God. There was a sacred aspect to it. Break this bond between God and the creation. Forgive me, I'm swamped by technology here. But that is not how it used to be. There is this concept of entertainment and its need. My brother has talked so eloquently about entertainment and its need. See, for Muslims, their work was worship. Their craft was worship. If you go to fairs today and you see a workman working on a piece of wood with one chisel and a hammer in his hand, and he creates extraordinary structures with it, that was worship. There was a sense of entertainment, there was a sense of fulfillment in the work of the Muslims. That is how our lives were designed. But the modern way of life takes that all away. So now you need weekends. Now you need time off. You need vacations. Monday is a bad day. Thank God it's Friday. I mean, there's a restaurant in the U.S., TGI Fridays. I mean, why do people do that? That was never the Muslim perspective. Muslims enjoyed their work. Their work reminded them of the Creator. Imagine a man going to the field and putting in the seed in the ground, and then he sees it come up, sprout up in a small plant, and then form a tree, give its fruit. Every step reminded him of his Khaliq, the Creator, Al-Musawwir. Every step did that. But now the only creative aspect is of that engineer who designs it. And then it's up to that factory in China, where thousands will manufacture that product without having any idea of the sanctity of the thing. They'll just push that button and the machine will start. If you go to an auto factory in Detroit, humans don't manufacture anything there. They just turn the button on and the robots do it. So machines have taken from the humans any aspect of knowledge. Knowledge lies with machines now, not with humans anymore. Even when the hypocrisy of this system is so easily seen by the fact that handmade things are so much sought after. A Ferrari is a sought after car because it's handmade. I mean, people go and buy handmade carpets, which means they still recognize that when humans follow the traditional practice, then it really becomes art. Then it reminds you of Al-Musawwir, Al-Khaliq, Al-Bari. That's when it does. But when you just turning on that button on in a Chinese factory, there is no God in that factory. Okay, it's very simple. Does that mean we should turn away, close our books, just go all up in the mountains and forget education? No. The Quran does have a perspective of knowledge. It says, وَلِلَّهِ مُلْكُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. To Allah belongs the dominion of the heavens and earth. وَاللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٍ. He has qudra over everything. إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ لَآيَاتٍ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. Indeed, in the creation of heavens and earth, and in the turning of days and nights, are signs for those who are people of inner path, people of wisdom. Islam invites us to look at the creation of the heavens and earth, but not to make money, not to make life more comfortable, but so that this knowledge and these observations will take us closer to our Creator. Ma'rifah will give us ma'rifah. That is why all of this has been put in front of us. The Quran says, الَّذِينَ يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا. These people remember Allah standing, sitting, lying on their side. And they say, what? رَبَّنَا مَا خَلَقْتَ هَذَا بَاطِلًا. Oh our Lord, you have not created all of this in vain. سُبْحَانَكَ فَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. I want you to pay attention to the sequence of events here. Once they have studied the universe, they don't go around finding out how we can make money from marketing a certain product. But this knowledge, this ma'rifah, reminds them who their real Creator is, and they have to return back to Him and answer for their deeds. And so what they say is, oh Allah, save us from the torment of fire. That is what knowledge technology art does to Muslims when they involve in it. When those people who have a completely different perspective towards life and death, people who don't have the secular framework of mind, people who have Tawheed in their entire life, their lives revolve around Tawheed. Even how they study the universe is all revolving around Tawheed. Because after all, that's what it is. Kullu shayin halik. Everything will be destroyed. Nothing will be left except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So everything we acquire takes us towards that understanding of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so our statement is this, not how much we can sell this product for now. This is what they say. O our Lord, anyone that you enter into the fire, you have disgraced. Certainly you have disgraced. And there will be no helpers for the transgressors. So the Quran does invite us to look into sciences, into the creation of heavens and earth, but with an entirely different perspective. And so we cannot accept the technology that comes from the West because it does not come from the background of Tawheed. In order for technology to be beneficial for the Muslim Ummah, it has to come and originate in those minds which have Tawheed in them. Only then it will be a positive technology. We just simply cannot take it from them and put a Muslim label over it and use it. That man who goes in his car to the masjid to pray has no idea how much that smoke that his old car has emitted has destroyed the environment. So even though he's doing a good thing, he's doing a good deed, the technology that he's using has not been developed with this framework. And so even though he's heading towards a good deed, during that transport, he has done something which has destroyed the environment that has been created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sanctity of environment has been destroyed. We live in a consumer society. It wants you to consume things more and more and more, always more. And why do people develop technology in the West? Well, they say because the population is growing. We need mega factories because population is growing. But handmade carpets and handmade saris in India are still very much alive. If the population has increased, the number of people who are hand-making these things will also increase. You do not need a factory in China to do that. So these are fallacious arguments that those who wish to make money have put forward. The biggest mistake that the Muslims have made as an ummah is we have gone up into this catching up phase. We wish to catch up now with the world. And that has happened because when the Muslim world was colonized by the Westerners, they tried to understand the source of strength of these people. And they thought that the source of strength of these people is their technology. So how can we claim back our countries? By catching up. By doing, there could be nothing more erroneous than that. That is a big mistake. That is not where their strength lies. And that is certainly not where we need to look for strength. But we need to stop this catching up phenomenon. People forget this concept of time and barakah. People forget that Muhammad al-Ghazali, who wrote 200 books by the time he was 54 years old and died. Can anyone name anybody in this world who has written 200 books with all this technology at their disposal? Can you name anybody who has done that? With all these supersonic jets that take you across the world in 18 hours, and you got photocopying machines, and you have printers, and PDF, Adobe softwares, and all of those things. Who has done it in this world? This is a prime example that there are barakah given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in certain times. That time did not have this technology that the West is imposing on us now, but that time was full of barakah. Those people were able to do things in a shorter span of time than we do now. People walking to my office, average life of people who walk into my office now is 70 plus. It is amazing. 20 years ago it was not like that in Pakistan. People are living longer. I ask you, yes, they are living longer. Are they living happier? Are we improving their quality of life? Yes, we have supposedly improved their quantity of life, but are we improving their quality of life? Are they more productive for themselves and for the society and the ummah? The answer is no. For the most part, that is not the case. And I can tell you, guaranteed, 9 out of 10 people who walk into my office are stressed and anxious. They want something for it. What has this job and this technology and these degrees given them? Perpetual stress and anxiety. That was not before. People were dying 55, 60, but they had full lives. Climate change. We don't recognize how this technology has affected the climate of the world. People have no idea how this has changed the pattern of rains and weathers across the globe, wreaking havoc on the agriculture, food and water crisis. Yet Muslims, we still want something. Those new gadgets truly make life easier. Again, convenience. We want convenience and ease is what we want. According to Dr. Adil Najm, who is a co-author of the report which gave Al Gore the Nobel Prize, the total number of people killed in wars between India and Pakistan is less than the number of children who will die because of contaminated water in Karachi in 2009. This is what our technology has done to our environment. And there is no way we can have development which does not consider environment. Muslim technology and Muslim art always took into consideration the environment around them. Their houses were built with material which was so friendly to the environment around them. You can go to the old cities, they don't exist much more, you can still go and see that, how they did that. We're running out of time. Even Hollywood fears the technology that they portray. Anybody who has seen these movies called I, Robot and the Transformers will know. Hollywood always expresses its fears before it actually happens. NASA looks at Hollywood for ideas, and so does the Pentagon. It looks at Hollywood for ideas. And so Hollywood has already expressed this fear about this so-called technology that we embrace with open hands. Jerry Mander wrote in 1978 4 arguments for the elimination of television. 1978! An American wrote a book about eliminating television from your homes. And we still have television full of 72. Now they got more coming with the new fiber optic, they say, with 20 more channels. So I've been fortunate enough, it says, I noticed you're changing the bullet levels. I mean, but technology, we're not going to go read this, but honestly, this is what's happening. Advertisement and television network don't want viewers to go out and search for themselves. This is what television does for you. They want to provide the answers on the television. If your head hurts, buy an Advil. If you're hungry, go to Taco Bell. Don't fix a sandwich at home. Go to McDonald's. Are your dishes dirty? Get some lemon fresh joy. Don't use a desi soap. Not good. This is what television does. We're consumers. They're selling stuff to us. And we are addicted buyers. That's all we do. We're addicted buyers. So every guy wants a fast Acura. Every girl wants to look like the women on NBC television show Friends. This is what television does for us. So, for the sake of time, I've run through this. Kids do not remember the brands of the plants, the name of plants now, but they remember the brands of chips now. Honestly, go and ask yourself, do you remember the different plants? Kids in our homes don't. But they remember how many types of Cheetos and, my son does. He's telling me, Baba, I want this one. They got 10 and he remembers them. This is what this technology has done for us. People now don't remember the names of the books, but they know the names of all the companies that manufacture mobile phones. If I ask anybody in this room, can you name one book written by Abu Hanifa, rahimahullah alayhi? How many hands do I see? The greatest book of Abu Hanifa. I have 3 or 4 or 5 hands. Can you tell me what's the new mobile company in Pakistan? The one that says 65 cents for what God knows all night. So, We don't even remember the single book by one of the greatest imams of our nation. But we know Modelink, and we know Telenor, and we know Zong, and God knows what else. We know the names of movies. Nobody goes to libraries anymore. We have PlayStation at home. Nobody goes and reads books in libraries. You go to Jinnah Market, the only shops you see in the front of it are mobile phones. There are no libraries anymore. That culture has disappeared. I'm going to take a few minutes with due respect to everybody, but I have to do this. This is the lecture delivered by Sheikh Abu Bakr Sirajuddin, rahimahullah, better known as Martin Lings. He gave this lecture in 1964. Just imagine the wisdom of this man who was a convert to Islam. In 1964, he addressed people in Al-Azhar University. In Arabic, this lecture was called The Spiritual Function of a Civilization. And he said, development means moving away from the principles. And although it is necessary to move a certain distance from principles in order to make applications, it is of vital importance to remain near enough for contact with them to be effective. Development must therefore never go beyond a certain point. Communities do not progress. They do not progress. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم خير القرون قرني ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم أو كما قال. Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم said, the best time is my time, of my time. And then who follow me, and then those who follow me. So if it's progress, then how can that be? So communities do not progress. Our progress is in our return to that time which was the best of the times. That is our progress, not moving in this direction. So the hope of communities must lie not in progress or development, but rather in renewal and restoration to that golden time. That is our progress. Renewal is the opposite of development, for it means a restoration of something of the primordial vigor of Islam. That is a movement in backward direction rather than forward. People think Renaissance was great. Renaissance was not great. Renaissance destroyed whatever was left of the Christian civilization and entangled them in this web of technology. That's what Renaissance did for them. So Renaissance means that customs such as wearing of the turban and not shaving of the beard are not encouraged anymore. And customs like whatever is in the West is encouraged now to do. So Sheikh Abu Bakr Sirajuddin said that even the homes of Muslims were an extension of the masjid. You remember? In Mecca, the homes of the people, the Sahaba, open into Masjid al-Haram. The same thing in Medina. The homes were open into Masjid. So, the homes of Muslims were built and filled in the same way as you would do a masjid. They would not put anything in their homes which they would not put in the masjid. This is how the dramatic divide has occurred now. Now our homes are full of things which remind you of the Quraysh, of the Kuffar of Quraysh used to do. All sorts of sculptures and paintings. We forget أشد الناس معذبين يوم القيامة المصورون. And we have these live paintings and sculptures in our homes. We put stuff in our homes which will never be put in the masjid. So even if we have lost direction on how we fill in our homes. And he said something extraordinary at the end. He said, he died in 2005. 2005 was it? May Allah have mercy on him. He said, Arabs, you are in the abode of Islam. Where after your independence, you are free to do what you will. You're free now. We look forward towards you from outside that abode and place our hopes in you. Do not disappoint us. Do not disappoint us, because those who live outside of the Haramain looked at the Haramain. But now when you go to Mecca and Medina, we see something else. I want you to look at this picture and think that if today this talk about technology sounds so strange to you, People have done this before. Things which were so different were changed dramatically. This is a picture of the South Lawn of White House in 1985. Ronald Reagan sitting with the Mujahideen commanders. And he says, these gentlemen are the moral equivalents of America's founding fathers. How in a matter of 20 years, these people have become the worst terrorists of this world. This is how perceptions change. So if today technology appears to be so great, open your eyes. It will not be like that soon, long enough. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you wisdom, you will see through it. Utah Phillips, who died in 2008, was a folk singer in the US, said something extraordinary. The capitalist system is based on the least commendable features of human psyche, greed and envy, rather than the best. And think that if today this talk about technology sounds so strange to you, people have done this before. Things which were so different were changed dramatically. This is a picture of the South Lawn of White House in 1985. Ronald Reagan sitting with the Mujahideen commanders. And he says, these gentlemen are the moral equivalents of America's founding fathers. How in a matter of 20 years, these people have become the worst terrorists of this world. This is how perceptions change. So if today technology appears to be so great, open your eyes. It will not be like that soon, long enough. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you wisdom, you will see through it. Utah Phillips, who died in 2008, was a folk singer in the US, said something extraordinary. The capitalist system is based on the least commendable features of human psyche, greed and envy, rather than the best. That is what this system is based on. That is what this modern technology is based on, greed and envy. And in the words of Sayyid Hussain Nasr, only a science that comes from the source of all knowledge, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the Al-Alim, and that is cultivated in an intellectual universe in which the spiritual and the ethical are not mere subjectivism, but are a fundamental feature of the cosmos, can save humanity from this mass suicide that parades as human progress and development. The Arabic poet said, إِنَّمَا الْكَوْنُ مَعَانِ قَائِمَةٌ بِالسُّوَى كُلُّ مَنْ يُدْرِكُ هَذَا كَانَ مِنْ أَهْلِ الْعِبَرِ. The universe is meanings set up in forms. These are meanings which are set up in forms. Anybody who is able to decipher that is amongst the people of discernment and wisdom. Learn from the signs of the universe, but not so we can make profit from it, but so we can recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala better. Because in the end, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَيَوْمَ نَبْعَثُ فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ شَهِيدًا عَلَيْهِمْ مِنْ أَنفُسِهِمْ وَجِئْنَا بِكَ شَهِيدًا. On that day, when we will bring all the nations and witnesses amongst them, on them, and you, O Prophet, will be the witness on your people. وَنَزَّلْنَا عَلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ تِبْيَانًا لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ. We have sent down a book to you which explains everything. If you want answers about technology and progress and all those other kind of confusing things, look towards Islam. Look towards Quran. Turn to it. It promises to answer you. It promises to answer you. I'm going to stop here. Well, thank you very much for your attention. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you, Dr. Waqas. That was the most enlightening perspective of the topic. Now I would like to invite Dr. Afridi to the stage to say a few words and also take part in presenting of the shield to Dr. Waqas as a token of our appreciation.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I don't think I have to say much what Dr. Waqas thought-provoking and incisive talk told us. This this talk, I believe, should make us think as to what our roots are, how we should work with technology, how a Muslim acts and lives in this world. Whatever human beings use other than their bare hands is technology, and technology has been there in all times. You know, when a person started farming and began to use the first tool, there was also technology. But obviously, with time, the technology changes and it becomes more and more advanced. But the point of his talk was that the modern technology in the last 2-3 centuries, this has made human beings a slave of their desires, of envy, of greed. And this is what a Muslim has to recognize and understand, that just using and utilizing every new tool does not mean progress. So this real human progress, as we all know, and you all have heard this, you know, that we have made the metals fly in the heavens, and we have made, you know, the go to the depth of the ocean like fishes, and we have learned to fly in the air like birds. But have we learned how to live and in this world as human beings? That is the big question. And who will answer this? And who will make and give the example? That, as our brother Dr. Waqas said, is the Muslim Ummah. And as previously Dr. Chishti mentioned, there is the Muslim's task to present to the world how to live a balanced life where each and everything reverts towards the knowledge of Allah, to knowing Allah, the marifat of Allah. So with these few words I will close, and I think that we should all think about these things, and we should all try to inculcate and go back to our knowledge, our sources of knowledge, the Allah's word, the Prophet ﷺ teaching. And if we are fully conversant with that, and if we have fully incorporated those things in ourselves, then we will be able to distinguish what is right and wrong, what is good or bad for us and for the people. But if we don't have those tools in us, then we will copy and go after everything that somebody puts out in an ad on the road or in the TV. So we need to learn ourselves and our children and our families, men and women. Every person has to go back to these lessons that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told us and have taught us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Afridi. I hope all of you were able to take something from today's session. For those of you who particularly enjoyed today's session, there are Islamic and Arabic classes given by Dr. Waqas at Shifa College of Medicine every Wednesday and Friday. Dr. Waqas gives faith-based lectures on Wednesdays from 3:15 to 5 p.m. and Arabic classes from 3:15 to 3:45 on Fridays. In addition, Dr. Waqas currently has 2 books that have been published. His first book is called Embracing Islam, The Journey Begins, and it was released in 2007. And his latest book, The Quest for Islam, was just recently released. Both of these books are available for you to purchase right outside this hall in booths. And they'll be on sale today and tomorrow. On behalf of all of the Shifa Student Society, I would like to thank all of you for attending.